Good afternoon. Friday, March 27. Late yesterday afternoon, I got texts about schools in our area being closed until May 4th. I've been wondering when that would happen here. I know that other districts in the area have been moving to online or distant learning. Alex, my son, has been telling me of some of the process he's been working through in his district. Angie Velasquez has a post on her Facebook page about creating a room or a space in one of her rooms for her teaching corner. I'm well aware that teachers are lamenting this new way of learning, which we hope will only last for the rest of this academic year. They're lamenting it because they need to see and personally interact with their students on a more regular basis. They love that. That's why they signed up to be teachers. I'm convinced also that our students need to see and interact with their teachers, their classmates, and their friends on a more regular basis at school. Zoom may be a way to go, but it may also be very chaotic to begin with. I've been thinking about this distant learning concept since the schools first announced that they were closing a couple of weeks ago. I remember a distant learning experience I had back in those dark ages of the last century, the 1960s, as a matter of fact. See, I have bad ankles, a birth defect that I apparently got from my father. So when I was in the 6th grade, our family joined others in a camping club, and we spent the Labor Day weekend at Mystic Harbor in Connecticut. We walked around most of Saturday, enjoying sights and having some fun. That evening after the campfire for the group, as I got ready to sleep, my ankles were really throbbing. This isn't a new experience for me. They regularly throbbed, but that night it took an extra long time to get comfortable and fall asleep. The next day, one of my folks' friends saw me walking with my usual gait and asked what was wrong with me. Did he twist an ankle yesterday? Did he get kicked in the ankle? What's wrong with him? Was kind of the gist of the conversation as I recall it. My mom said something like, no, that's normal for him, especially after a long day on his feet. She offered that sometimes I would ice my ankles to help. My parents' friend said, you should go take him to see Dr. Lawrence. Now, Dr. Lawrence was an orthopedic specialist that their friend had worked with for years because he sold braces and the like. And he was absolutely convinced that Doc Lawrence could help me. I remember going to the clinic where Dr. Lawrence had his office, and there was an immediate diagnosis as I walked down the hallway. Dr. Lawrence was sure that I had something wrong with my ankles, and the x-ray showed exactly what he had suspected. Where most people have cartilage, I had bone. Too much milk, I thought. In late January of that 7th grade, my 7th grade year, I had surgery on one ankle and the next week on the other ankle. With casts up to my knees, I was sent home and rolled around in our house in a wheelchair that we jokingly said Abraham Lincoln used. For the next 4 months, I was homebound. Leg casts were my best friends. Signers were needed and welcomed. And of course, no school for me, at least not in the normal sense. At the time, my dad worked for the New York Telephone Company, and he had heard that there was an experimental classroom learning device being worked on. So he signed up to be part of the test program. The phone company came and wired a downstairs room at our house so that we could plug in a receiving box. And 2 of my classmates were recruited to carry me, well, the transmitting box at least, from class to class. Every morning I would turn on and listen to the class, sitting at a desk in that room. The coolest thing I thought was that I could wear whatever I wanted to, because no one could see that I was wearing shorts and a t-shirt in the middle of the winter. It was different, to say the least. And then every afternoon, one of my teachers would come by and give me a one-on-one tutoring session for about an hour. That really was a lot of fun. I really got to know those 5 teachers during those 4 months. Sometimes one of the teachers would bring with him or her a test that I was supposed to either do while they were there or was supposed to do the next day during the class time. I seem to recall hearing words frequently like, "This is not an open book test." Now, all I could do was listen and speak, but I could never see what was happening in the classroom, just as they could never see what I was doing at home. It was the best that we could do in that awful moment. Today, I thank God that there is better technology. I saw a post from Tiffany of Kira sitting at the computer enjoying her class on Zoom, the new way to connect. Distant learning, online learning, whatever you call it, I think it is still difficult, for me at least, because it's not what I've had before. But there are many who have done things, incredible things through this process. Many are now finishing their college degrees. Our own Rob Williamson is completing his college work online with the University of Maryland. Seminaries are offering classes online to help those who are going into ministry as a second career. There is a need and a place for this method, not what we may be used to or even comfortable with. But at this point in time, it's vital for our students to keep learning and to be safe. And who would have thought that virtual church would be the Lenten experience for 2020? Not me, for sure. We will someday be able to gather in large groups in classrooms, in churches, at stadiums rooting on our River Cats, Giants, or A's, in backyard celebrations of life's milestones. But now we're in small groups, under 10, or by ourselves, to not just protect ourselves, but to protect everyone else as well. It's not in fear that we do this, but it's love for the other that causes us to stay home, to isolate, to social distance, to do all of those things. But until that moment when we can gather back again, I ask you to please remember, wash your hands for those 20 seconds. Say the Lord's Prayer when you do it 3 and 4 or 5 times a day. Stay home if you're sick. Good advice all the time. Love one another. Practice the important social distancing that we've learned about. And of course, be careful out there. By the way, I did get our YouTube channel up and running so that we can share worship service with even more folks this Sunday. In fact, yesterday's reflection has been posted on our YouTube channel. So if you're interested, search for Shepherd of the Hills Vacaville in the YouTube search engine, and you'll see me, our channel. See you Sunday.